It was 11 p.m. on a quiet Tuesday night, and James sat on the edge of his kitchen table, staring at his phone. His tiny apartment smelled faintly of baby powder and leftover cereal. The sound of his daughter Emma's soft breathing from the crib beside him made his heart ache and his chest tighten. He was out of baby formula, and the grocery store wouldn't deliver until the next day. Panic clawed at him. Emma was just 6 months old, and her tiny cries haunted him. He couldn't let her go hungry tonight. With trembling hands, he typed a desperate message to what he thought was a friend. "Hey man, I'm really sorry to ask, but I'm out of formula. Can you send me $50 so I can get some? I'll pay you back as soon as I can." His thumbs hovered over the send button. He felt shame, anxiety, and a flicker of hope all at once. And then he pressed send. What James didn't know was that he had accidentally texted the wrong number. On the other end, hundreds of miles away in a sleek, high-rise apartment overlooking the city, a man in a crisp suit, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, glanced at his phone. The message popped up, "Hey man, I'm really sorry to ask, but I'm out of formula." Before he could even process the text, he felt a tug at his heart. Most people would ignore it, delete it, or think it was a scam. But not him. Before we dive deeper into James' story, if you love real, uplifting stories that touch your heart and remind us what makes humanity beautiful, make sure to subscribe to Truthlines USA, like this video, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us share more stories that matter. James had never expected his message to reach a millionaire CEO, and the idea of getting help from a stranger, even a stranger with so much money, seemed both impossible and surreal. He sat there, anxiously watching the 3 little dots appear on the screen, signaling that someone was typing a reply. Seconds stretched into minutes. Finally, the response came, "Hi, I think you might have sent this to the wrong number, but I want to help. How soon do you need the formula?" James froze. His heart raced. Could this really be happening? He checked the number again. No, it wasn't his friend. And yet, here was a stranger offering help. Desperation mixed with disbelief as he typed back, I need it tonight. My daughter is hungry. I'm so sorry to bother you." On the other end, the CEO, whose name was Daniel, didn't hesitate. He didn't ask for ID, proof, or a sob story. He simply said, "I can have it delivered in the next hour. Give me your address." Within moments, a delivery was on its way, a small box containing not just baby formula, but a note that read, "Even strangers deserve kindness. Hang in there." James held the note, feeling a lump in his throat. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, he cried, not out of sadness, but out of relief and gratitude. He thought about how fragile life could be, how a single text, sent by mistake, could change a night filled with worry into one of hope. Over the next few weeks, Daniel and James kept in touch. It wasn't about money anymore, it was about human connection. Daniel learned about the struggles James faced as a single father, working 2 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads. James learned that behind the headlines and the public persona, Daniel was a man who believed in simple acts of kindness, in the idea that even a small gesture could ripple outward and create a wave of hope. One evening, James texted Daniel again, this time just to share a small victory. "Emma took her first steps today. She's crawling and standing on her own. Thank you for helping us that night. I'll never forget it." Daniel smiled at the message. He didn't think of it as a big deal, but James did. That night, Daniel realized something important. Kindness isn't about wealth, position, or fame. It's about noticing when someone is struggling and choosing to act, even when the world encourages us to look away. But the story didn't stop there. Inspired by the encounter, Daniel decided to create a small foundation aimed at helping single parents in crisis. He started anonymously funding emergency supplies, food deliveries, and rent assistance for families just like James. Word of the program spread slowly, quietly, and it changed hundreds of lives, just as one text had changed James and Emma's lives. James, on the other hand, began to feel a renewed sense of purpose. He knew he wanted to pay it forward, even if he couldn't give money like Daniel. So he started volunteering at his local food pantry, helping families who were struggling, sharing his story of hope and resilience. He realized that kindness wasn't always about grand gestures, it could be a comforting word, a shared meal, or the decision to listen when someone else was suffering. The bond between Daniel and James became a living example of what could happen when humanity triumphed over cynicism. Daniel once told James, "You taught me that it's easy to get lost in the numbers, the deals, the work. But the real impact is in these moments, helping someone when they need it most." James never expected to meet a millionaire or to receive a helping hand from a stranger, but he also never expected the ripple effect that a single act of kindness could create. From a small apartment in a quiet neighborhood to a high-rise office overlooking the city, two very different lives were brought together by empathy, courage, and humanity. There's a scene in James' story that still resonates with him every day. One rainy night, he and Emma were walking home from the grocery store, her tiny hand wrapped around his finger, clutching a little bag of formula. A neighbor saw him struggling with an umbrella and groceries and offered to carry the bag for him. James thanked them and thought about Daniel, about the anonymous deliveries, about the kindness that had saved his daughter from going hungry. He realized that every act of kindness, no matter how small, mattered. It's easy to feel powerless in a world that often seems cold or indifferent. We scroll past news stories, headlines, and social media posts without thinking about the people behind them. But James' story reminds us that sometimes, reaching out, showing empathy, and acting with generosity, even when it's inconvenient, can change lives in ways we cannot imagine. Kindness is contagious. It spreads from one person to another, across miles and circumstances. Daniel didn't just help James, he helped create a chain reaction of compassion that inspired James to give back, that encouraged neighbors to be more mindful, and that quietly reminded the world that love and humanity are far more powerful than indifference. Months later, Emma's first birthday arrived. James invited Daniel to the small celebration. Daniel came, carrying a wrapped gift, smiling genuinely. He watched as James held Emma in his arms, spinning her slowly while she giggled and reached for the colorful balloons. Daniel didn't feel like a CEO that day. He felt like a human being, sharing a moment of pure joy with a family he had never met until that one late-night text. James thanked Daniel for everything, the delivery, the support, and, most importantly, the lesson that a stranger's kindness could restore faith in the world. Daniel shook his head, smiling, and said, "I just answered a message. You turned it into something bigger. That's your kindness at work too." It was a reminder that real change doesn't always come from power, influence, or wealth. It comes from seeing the humanity in others and choosing to act. In the end, the story of a wrong number, a desperate text, and a sleepless night became a story of hope, connection, and the transformative power of kindness. James and Daniel's unlikely friendship is a testament to the idea that no matter who we are or where we come from, we all have the ability to make someone's day, or even their life, a little brighter. So next time you see someone struggling, don't scroll past. Don't hesitate. Even a small gesture, a text, a smile, a shared meal, or a moment of listening, can have a ripple effect far beyond what you ever imagine. Kindness is not a weakness, it is a quiet, unstoppable power that reminds us all that, even in hard times, we are not alone. And as James looks at Emma now, toddling around with her tiny sneakers, laughing and exploring the world, he knows that one accidental text didn't just bring baby formula, it brought hope, friendship, and the realization that sometimes, the world can be kind when we least expect it. If this story touched your heart, remember to carry a little kindness with you today. Reach out, help someone, and never underestimate the power of a small act. You might not know it in the moment, but that simple choice could change someone's life forever.